welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Crystal Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course, we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show here in our new digs at the Stream TV here in Hollywood, California. We're going to tell you a little bit more and give you a bit of a walk around, a tour of the studio, if you will, sometime next week. And I'm especially in a good mood today because my favorite pink-haired film critic is here with us today. We'll get to her in just a second.
We also have from AMC, before we get to the pink hair, our AMC editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hello, guys. I am also so happy that our favorite pink-haired friend is here. And let's get to her.
My favorite person to go watch movies with. You guys will know her from Rotten Tomatoes, the one, the only, Gray Drake.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here. Are there any other pink-haired movie critics?
None that matter.
Ha-ha!
Good answer. I like that.
And to answer everybody's question, after meeting Pink in person, it turns out that she and I being in the same room does not create a Highlander situation.
Oh my. Hey, and you know what? Before we get going on the actual movie news of the day, I should probably bring this up. We don't have it in the sidebar. It's not one of our official topics today. But just before we rolled in, a leaked version of the first Godzilla teaser got its way online. And I found out it wasn't supposed to be. And it instantly, sites started pulling it down because I guess the studios started firing out. I'm just going to say, Gray, you saw it.
I did
Amy
see
Rose,
it.
you didn't have a chance to see it because it was only up shortly.
Got pulled.
Damn good teaser trailer.
It wasn't bad, and it was also called Fat Man,
Fat
where I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, really? So they're trying to hide it, I guess.
Yeah, right. And I was like, oh my God, is Kevin Smith finally doing this? And then when I was watching it, I went, oh my God, this is something else. I wasn't even wearing pants yet, and I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's for when you do finally see it. There's none of the actors in it. It's not a great trailer per se, but it is a great teaser trailer. You just get to see the destruction that Godzilla's caused.
And
the noise.
You're excited now, right? That's the point of a teaser.
I'm excited about it
Perfect.
now, even if they didn't want me to see it yet. I'm excited about it. All right, let's get started.
I have mini trailer envy right now. All right, considering World War Z turned out to be the biggest hit of his career, it's no surprise that producer and star Brad Pitt and his Plan B entertainment company are moving full speed ahead on developing a sequel. However, it seems that one of the people that won't be returning is director Mark Forster, who Pitt confirms won't be coming back. Forster himself in recent interviews suggested that he wouldn't be interested in returning for part 2. Forster previously directed such films as Finding Neverland, Monsters Ball, The Kite Runner, Stranger Than Fiction, and the James Bond film Quantum of Solace. John, are you surprised Forster won't be returning for World War Z 2?
No, I would have been shocked if we found out he was coming back. Not because the movie wasn't good. You guys know I actually ended up kind of liking World War Z, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do next. I love, as a side note, Finding Neverland. It's my favorite Johnny Depp movie, actually. I think that movie is just breathtakingly good.
Ooh, Crybaby.
I didn't like Crybaby that much. Anyway, but the thing is, for those of you who followed any of the drama that went on in the making of World War Z, like people were thinking the whole movie was just going to collapse. Tons of reshoots. People weren't happy with what Mark was doing. Mark wasn't happy with other people. They took away all the people who was working with him behind the scenes and replaced them as well. They gutted like the third act completely and remade it from scratch. Like 8 weeks of reshoots. Blah blah blah. It's not a surprise that a couple weeks ago we heard him in an interview saying, "Yeah, I'm not really interested in going back to that world," and not a surprise to hear that he won't be. Gray, you follow this stuff too. Were you surprised to hear that he wouldn't come back for World War Z 2?
Not a bit. Anytime that you have a gigantic movie with a gigantic star from a gigantic book that has to reshoot the entire last part of the movie, it must have been a nightmare for the producers. It must have been a nightmare for him as a director. So that alone, regardless of politics or whatever they had planned, is enough, I think, to send him packing and not wanting to do a second one. And I do want to point out there's a still of him that was just over when Chrisley was talking. And another thing that he needs to rethink is the scarf that he was wearing in that picture. It was not okay.
I'm all for the scarf. What are you talking about? Where is the day of the ascot? Anyway, Amy Rose, you surprised that he's not back?
So it's really the scarf. You're fine with his
love that
directorial
scarf.
efforts.
Look at
It's
it.
the scarf.
Hold on. What is he? What? And look at that look in his eyes. He looks like he's going to kill Brad
But
Pitt
look
for
at those
reshooting his
eyes,
movies.
girl.
That's what's
I
happening.
like the scarf. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that he's gone. I mean, with a production on this scale and with so many players not, and not flowing well, it's never a surprise to kind of get rid of the Helmer. And, it was a decent movie. It was fun, but I can't say that I'm upset to not see him return either. I mean, out of all the films you just read, Lovely Chrysalie, Finding Neverland was by far my favorite, and the other ones were fine. I mean, Quantum of Solace was my least favorite of the Daniel Craig
yeah, mine too.
films, of the Bond films, and
I can't even say the words. I dislike that one so much.
yeah, I really wasn't a fan. I don't like his direction or choices in that, and it was not the actor's fault by any means. So yeah, I'm okay to see him go. I think Brad Pitt is a phenomenal actor, and from what I've heard about it, I did not read the books, that there was a lot that was not shown on the big screen.
Well, apparently it's completely different from the book. Like,
It's
from what
totally different,
Yeah.
and there's so many interesting parts and elements of the book that they could have sewn into a
That they
narrative
didn't,
story
yeah.
that they chose to completely ignore. So really the only thing that the movie retained was the title.
Yeah.
Because when I picked
Which
up
is
the book at an
disappointing.
airport, I was like, great, I'm going to read it, be prepared for the film, and then it did nothing
"What
for me.
is this?"
I wasted all that time reading, for God's sake. I'm a movie
I
critic.
think this is one of those really good situations. Look, I believe Forster's a great director. The Kite Runner, Monsters Ball.
He's good.
Talked about Finding Neverland. I think this is just one of those situations where you have you have a talented director, a talented filmmaker, and a production company that's actually starting to do some pretty good stuff. And they were just on different pages, and they just wanted two different things. Obviously, Mark was not taking World War Z where Brad Pitt and his production company wanted the film to go. They gutted everything, and so it's probably best that they part ways and
It
not
happens.
pin blame on anybody.
It's an amicable divorce,
Yeah.
at least to us.
Yeah.
So.
All right, what's next?
On yesterday's show, we told you about Avengers star Samuel L. Jackson revealing that Elizabeth Olsen was cast as Scarlet Witch in the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron. We also mentioned that Kick-Ass and Savages star Aaron Taylor Johnson was considered the frontrunner for the role of Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch's brother, since Taylor Johnson had already previously confirmed that he and Avengers director Joss Whedon were already in talks about the character. Today, a rumor is circulating that Taylor Johnson has officially signed on for the film. Gray, if the rumor is true, are you good with Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver in Avengers 2?
I'm good with him in anything involving tights and punching stuff. Because he worked so hard on Kick-Ass and he made those movies good. I didn't prefer the second one at all, but he was good. He looked good, he was the part, he's an interesting actor. And when you look at what a chameleon he is, like, he was in Nowhere Boy, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like, he's in so many different movies, looking completely different, always changing it up, that there's no question in my mind that he could totally pull off Quicksilver. And P.S., Elizabeth Olsen is a really good match for him. Like, I think those two are perfectly on par with each other, and I believe that they're brother and sister, and I believe they're superheroes, and I believe they're both awesome.
And we're going to see both of them together, as a matter of fact, before Avengers 2 in
Godzilla.
which is kind of interesting. Amy Rose, how do you see this?
Yeah, I really like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, Kick-Ass was fantastic, and I liked the sequel a lot. I thought it was really strong, and Jim Carrey, I mean, the whole team.
You thought that sequel was strong?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, so did I.
God, I had so much respect for you.
Yes, success. But no, I thought it was solid. It was definitely not as good or nostalgic as the first one. I mean, I feel that way most of the time when they're introducing these characters opposed to continuing the story, most of the time. But my biggest surprise was Savages. I had no idea that was him.
Oh my
Like,
God.
until
Yeah.
midway in the film. I mean, and I know a lot of people did not like that movie. I liked it a lot. Much like Return of the King, it had many endings, and I would have preferred the first one opposed to the way it went down the path.
And not only did it have a lot of endings, it had a completely BS ending that was infuriating to anyone who had invested 2 hours in
Yeah.
that film. And Oliver Stone deserves a little kind of a punch in the ribs.
I would have liked if they ended that way, but I think he's a good actor, and you touched on this. I mean, one thing when they tried to pair family members together, I mean, that I think they did amazing with Amazing Spider-Man 2, with Harry Osborn and Norman, with
Right.
Cooper and Dane DeHaan.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's fantastic, because aesthetically you could really see them resembling each other, and I see it with Olsen as well as Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think you could really see that with a little movie magic, them being siblings, which I like. So.
That just made me think about, I have never once thought about Willem Dafoe and James Franco as being related. Oh my God.
Sorry, Franco, for that one.
But is that going to make Godzilla? Is that going to make Godzilla feel even weirder if we think of them in terms of brother and sister? Because I believe they're love interests In Godzilla.
Incest is really hot right now.
Yeah, so, but I mean, getting back to Aaron Taylor Johnson himself, you're right. You didn't realize it was him in Savages until halfway through the film. I didn't realize it was him until having an argument with my wife about it in the car, leaving the movie. She's like, yeah, that one dude, he was really good. And she goes, yeah, it's hard to think that that's Kick-Ass. I'm like, that's not Kick-Ass. And she goes, yes, it is. I'm like, honey.
It's like night and day.
Cute little girl patting her on the head, you know.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I'm the film guy. I would know. Idiot. As it turns out, it is him.
Yeah.
And you know what? I did like Kick-Ass 2, and I liked his performance in Kick-Ass 2. Clearly not as good as the first one. It was missing Big Daddy too much.
Big Daddy.
But overall, I think this is a really nice fit. I think this is a nice move. He'll be a good Quicksilver. We said this before. I still believe it. I still don't want Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch in the movie at all. But if you're going to put them in, these are two good.
It's happening, John.
These are two good cast members. All right, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Gray, Amy Rose, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Thor: The Dark World opens in AMC theaters everywhere on November 8th, and yesterday Marvel released our first two character posters for Ray Stevenson's Volstagg and Zachary Levi's Fandral. Levi, who starred in TV's Chuck for 5 seasons, was originally supposed to play Fandral in the first Thor film, but had to back out due to scheduling conflicts, and was replaced by actor Josh Dallas, who subsequently was unavailable for Thor 2. Amy Rose, buy or sell these posters for Stevenson and Levi?
Yes, I'm going to buy them. I really like the whole marketing approach for Thor, the character posters, showing them all in their state of glory on the battlefield. I think that they look great, and I loved Stevenson in the first film. He was a great comic relief, and Zachary Levi's a stud, and he's a good actor, and I think it's funny with a little swapperoo going on, but yeah, he's a good actor, and I like the posters a lot. I'm so excited for the sequel.
I just love Ray Stevens, period.
Yeah.
This guy, every time I see him in something now, he's getting, I loved him in Punisher. I liked his incarnation of Punisher. I really did. I thought he was a badass in that. I loved him in Thor. I think he's going to be great in this. There is an interesting little Dexter connection here. Because, of course, Ray Stevens was the villain in in Dexter last season.
Okay.
And he was an amazing villain in Dexter. I thought he was incredible in that. And, of course, Zachary Levi worked for 5 seasons with the blonde in Chuck, who was then Dexter's love interest for the last 2 seasons. So, interesting little connection going on. Completely irrelevant, I know. But it is really cool. I really like Zachary Levi a lot, actually. Both I think as a person, he's just a sweetheart of a guy. I've liked him when I've seen him in stuff. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen him in more. Hopefully this will launch the beginning of a new film career for the dude. Gray?
Is anybody going to bring up that when you look at these posters, it's like you fell asleep, woke up, it was 2003, and this is a Lord of the Rings poster, and that's Gimli.
The color tone is similar too,
and
right?
his beard and his facial hair. And
Is that why I love it so much?
Seriously, if I didn't have my glasses on when I first looked at it, and I'm like 100,
or your pants,
right? And I'm 100 years old, and I was like, what's Gimli doing in the Thor movie? And so I'm.
And why is he suddenly 6'4"?
Right, exactly. It's like, God, his legs, they've grown. It's science. And so I kind of have trouble with these posters. One of the things that I am really hoping that Thor 2 corrects is that Thor, as a movie for me, didn't have much of a personality. And I thought that Thor as a character worked so much better in Avengers because Joss Whedon was writing him. And so for Thor 2, these posters don't bode well in that respect for me. I want this movie to have its own personality. I want it to be amped up and awesome. And I'm worried now because I love Lord of the Rings and I want it to be Lord of the Rings and I want Thor to be Thor and I want,
I loved the first film.
I thought Thor was an even better character in the first film than he was in Avengers.
Really?
But that's the best thing about movies. Hey, listen, before we move on to the next topic, though, I want to remind you guys, this show is live. So if you're in the comments section, Chris Lee is over there and she is monitoring the chat there in the comments area. She's interacting with you guys. If you got questions or points you'd like to bring up, fire them in there. We're going to leave a little bit of time at the end of the show to address some questions that you guys fire off in the chat board. So with that being said, Chris Lee, what's next?
On yesterday's episode, we showed you the first poster for the upcoming Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, and now the first official trailer for the film has hit the web. You can find a link to it in the video description below. The film is based on the character created by author Tom Clancy, who sadly passed away a few days ago. John Ryan's Shadow Recruit stars Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, Kevin Costner and Brana himself. The film is a contemporary action thriller set in the present day. The original story, written by David Cope, follows a young Jack as he uncovers a financial terrorist plot. John, buy or sell the trailer?
You know, I've been looking forward to this film, but I've still been kind of nervous about it. But for me, it's a buy. I enjoyed the trailer a lot, as a matter of fact. I thought Kevin Costner, I was afraid he wouldn't fit into this sort of thing, but I found he very oddly did fit into it. So I enjoyed it. Good tension. I thought it gives us a nice introduction to the Jack Ryan character, this new incarnation of him. So yeah, and I loved Brana as the villain. I thought Brana looked really cool as a villain. So for me, it's a buy. Amy Rose?
Yeah, it's also a buy. I really love crime thrillers, and Tom Clancy is so great at these characters, and they're very layered and they're very complex, and you know, I liked what I saw, and I do like Brana as an actor a lot. I loved him in My Week with Marilyn. He was really solid.
He's always good.
And
yeah.
he's always good. But Keira Knightley and Chris Pine, I really like him as an action star too. So I think overall it looks really good, and I like this new reincarnation of Jack Ryan. He's a great character.
Great.
Chris Pine gets his Bourne identity. That's what this looks like, and I'm in, and I love it, and I love him, and I think it looks fun. I'm going to really genuinely miss the Zek from the other version of Jack Reacher, because Werner Herzog was so amazing.
Yeah.
He elevated that entire thing to another level. I hope that Brana does the same thing as the villain in this one. I think he can.
Yeah.
But he's not a weirdo.
We're talking about
like
two
Werner
separate
is.
film franchises, Jack Reacher and Jack Ryan.
I wondered why they were rebooting Jack Reacher so soon. I was like, did Tom Clancy write
You
Jack
can still
Reacher?
compare villains.
Holy crap! It's live! Yay! Thank God. Well, Chris Pine's going to be great. My opinion stands the same, and Werner Herzog makes everything better. So just
does.
cast
He
him in
does.
this.
He does.
Just put him in Jack Ryan. Who cares?
I know I've told this story before, but if you're going to bring up Werner Herzog, there's this great little poker movie he did a few years ago with Woody Harrelson and a whole bunch of people called, I think it was called The Grand, about this big poker tournament, and it was like it was a faux documentary about all these big poker players, including Werner Herzog was playing a poker player, coming together for this winner-take-all, like $10 million poker thing. And as a poker player, they always talk to him in his room when they're interviewing him, right? And he's always in his room petting an animal. And he says, they ask him, where do you get your energy to play poker? He goes, it is very important for me, as he's petting a rabbit, to every day kill one living thing with my bare hands.
Oh my
It's like, that's Werner Herzog, folks. I'm not surprised at all if that's what he really does in real life.
Makes me think of Mugatu.
Yeah, but he's so real.
Will Ferrell.
Okay, Chris Lee, what do we got next?
Reports are circulating that Fight Club and The Social Network director David Fincher has rejoined the project Black Hole based on the Charles Burns series. The story is set in Seattle during the 70s. A sexual disease known as the bug is spreading among teenagers. Those who get it develop bizarre mutations, sometimes subtle. Story follows two teens, Keith and Chris, as they get the bug. Their dreams and hallucinations, made of deeply disturbing symbolism, merging sexuality and sickness, are a key part of the tale. Gray, buy or sell Fincher joining Black Hole?
Well, I'm going to say bye, because it's like David Fincher directs an episode of The Hills. Right?
I thought of that way.
And I love it. I'm in. Like, yes, yes, yes. And put Werner Herzog in it.
Amy Rose?
So hot right now. So hot right now. I'm also going to buy it. Anti-bullying films used to be all the rage, and now it's anti-sex, apparently, because there's a lot of these coming out. Boo!
Don't bully, but let's all have sex.
I love David Fincher. I think he's fantastic. Fight Club, Social Network, even his rendition of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I thought was great. Even though I liked the Swedish version better, it was still good. He's just got such an interesting way of storytelling, and always these dark, sexy tones, and this sounds like a really fun sci-fi anti-sex commercial, so I like it.
Yeah, David Fincher, a lot of people remember this, but David Fincher was actually attached to this film before, years ago. And then it kind of fell apart and it disappeared, and now they're back on. And,
bug got him.
You know, when you break up with somebody, best just to leave it at that. So for me, this is going to be a sell. Although I can see, when I'm reading this and it says like people get the bug, this STD, and they suddenly develop mutations, now I can just see a bunch of high school kids running around saying, let's have lots of unprotected sex because I want to be an X-Man. So that's all I can
dear.
totally see in this.
What if
Amazing.
That's how you know you've been doing it right, though. When you can shoot electricity from your hands afterwards.
I want to be Mystique, just putting it out there right now.
What if David Cronenberg directed this? That would be the only other choice for this
Oh,
movie.
seriously, that's exactly what I was thinking. This sounds like a David Cronenberg film, right?
It's kind of one that he already did. I think it was Slither.
It sounds kind of like his career, and he didn't do Slither, but it
James
was.
Gunn did Slither.
Yeah,
Shiver?
Might have been that something like that.
I always get the S's and the L's confused. I'm so good with my names today, you guys.
Listen, folks, we have reached that part of the show called Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every day we pull a couple questions out of the mailbag. Chrisley's got a few of them pulled out right now. So, Chrisley, what do we got?
Sorry, chat roll is just, you guys are on it today. There's so many comments coming in that you disable them, but we got 3 already pulled. I got 3 more coming.
I just gotta say before you get the question, like yesterday, by the time we went off the air live, there was already like 1,700 messages in the chat roll by the time we finished airing. So keep up, Chrisley. You're doing great.
I'm gonna take a picture. Right now it says due to high volume, comment loading is disabled. You guys are breaking me down. You're so good. Thank you. Okay, sorry. As I digress. Louis Santos writes, hey guys, I was watching The Tuxedo a while back and was wondering what made Jackie Chan the great action star he was. Don't get me wrong, I love Jackie, but he came out after Bruce Lee, who was strong and fearless. Then Jackie comes along, who can actually get hurt. So what made him a success?
There were a couple things that made Jackie Chan the international phenom that he was. And you're talking about, Bruce Lee was so strong and fierce, and Jackie Chan, to get all these injuries and he gets hurt. And well, Jackie Chan did things with his mortal human flesh that no human being should ever do. Like this was his big claim to fame at first. Like when you saw him in a movie diving out of a helicopter from 50 feet up, that was Jackie Chan diving out of a helicopter from 50 feet up. When you saw him jumping across buildings in New York or Hong Kong, wherever, that was Jackie Chan without a wire diving across buildings. I mean, he did one of my favorite things about all the 90s Jackie Chan films was watching after the credits or during the credits, because they would roll all the bad things that would happen to Jackie Chan, doing all of his own stunts. So that was one of the big things to his claim to fame.
Me.
Yes.
Me. He was also really funny.
Well, see, that's the second thing I was going to bring up. There were 3 things about. 1, all of his own stunts, hurts himself a lot. That's why he got hurt. Number 2, he had great personality.
Yeah.
I mean, he is impossible to not like.
Right.
The dude is just so smiles and happy, and it's infectious.
And it was a reaction to Bruce Lee, because we love Bruce Lee for being completely different from Jackie Chan. That's it. It's like they're the opposite ends of the spectrum, and they both work so well in different ways.
Yeah, his charisma is really hard to beat. I mean, when he smiles, and he has really good comedic timing, and it's okay that he can get hurt. He's immortal. It's all right.
And he brought in a lot of people to that style of movie that wouldn't have been brought in otherwise, because he was so inviting and warm as a human being. So then all of a sudden he was kind of their gateway drug into this whole other realm of amazing cinema.
They were having a real hard time for a long period of time bringing Asian-style cinema into the North American audience. And then came Rumble in the Bronx, which was not a huge blockbuster hit, but suddenly now that marked a shift. People saw Jackie Chan in this thing doing all these crazy, weird, outstanding things, and it was like, this could be cool. And then all of a sudden after that, the floodgates opened a bit, and we started seeing more and more and more of that stuff come out. And yeah, Jackie is no Bruce Lee, but they're 2 very, very different things. And for that reason, those reasons alone, I mean, that's why he was such a success.
He's so charming.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Kyle Kizu writes, hey everyone, love the show. I can't go a day without y'all. So I read an article today that there were many lawsuits filed against the company of the cargo cruise ship that was hijacked by Somali pirates because of the fact that the real Captain Phillips ignored warnings and sailed into pirate-infested waters 250 miles off the coast of Somalia when the ship had been advised to stay 600 miles away. Crew members of the ship have said that Phillips is no hero and was basically an idiot. The film, on the other hand, glorifies Phillips for his bravery. Will these lawsuits affect the attendance to the movie, or will a lot still go? But just realize that it isn't reflective of the truth.
It's a really great topic you bring up, Kyle.
Really
but there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Number 1, no, this isn't going to affect the box office results of Captain Phillips at all. And most people don't even know about these lawsuits that are going on, and then the other half of the people won't really care. The other thing to keep in mind, too, is I think you and I and the majority of people are intelligent enough to know that just because somebody's bringing a lawsuit in this overly lawsuited culture that we live in doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean there's truth to it. Now, keep in mind, the majority of the crew members who worked under Captain Phillips refused to participate in this lawsuit, the majority of them. Also, when you hear that they accuse that he was told to stay 600 miles away, that hasn't been proven. So now I'm not saying it's not true. He could be a jackass.
Your
I mean, for
side,
all we
my
know.
side, and the truth.
Yeah,
Like, who knows?
Exactly. We just don't know, and for that reason, no one's going to say this is the truth, this isn't the truth, whatever. They're going to see a good movie, and it's a good movie. So great. Well, what would you do? You think this is going to affect people? That people will stay away from it because of these lawsuits?
If anything, I think that people would hear about the lawsuit, they'd read about it in the paper, and they'd go, "Oh, wait a second, Tom Hanks has a new movie out?"
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
go see it because the smart thing that they did is when they're telling a story. This is just good movie producing. When you are telling a story and you want people to feel a certain way about the main character, regardless of what the truth is in real life, just cast Tom Hanks. Because he's just
When
going
in
to
doubt.
bring it home,
For
and
reals.
you've got it's a layup every single time. He's amazing all the time. So I don't know what the truth is, but I know I'm going to see the movie.
Okay, now what about this? We produce a new movie starring Tom Hanks and The Rock.
Wow. I just went on overload. It's like the pecs and the smiles, and I want to put them both in my pocket, but they won't fit. And I don't know where I'm going with that. And Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog.
Have you guys seen this film yet? Have you seen Captain
Yes.
Phillips? Okay.
No.
So I have seen it, and it is a little disappointing when it's based on a true story and you find out that it's loosely based on a true story, but that's usually the case unless they're trying to actually follow it verbatim.
The new popular term is inspired
Yeah,
by
right?
the true
Inspired
story.
by real events, not even
Yeah.
story, which is funny. But I mean, look what happened with Jim Carrey and Kick-Ass 2. Bad publicity is publicity, and it shines a light very heavily on a production. So people are going to see it. But regardless of that, Paul Greengrass is so good at this docudrama genre.
Yeah, he
I mean,
really
he's
is.
so good at it. He builds such tension. And Tom Hanks, again, at the height of his game, I mean, just that last 15 minutes, the whole story, he's just so good at what he does. He's such a natural actor that has this sense of humanity that so many people can connect with. So I don't think it's going to detract from it. It's a fun time, and it's inspired by real events. It's not trying to claim that it is the real story.
And
so.
now we're all getting ready to get double teamed by Tom Hanks in
Saving Mr. Banks.
Saving Mr. Banks
Whoa.
and Captain Phillips. The big Tom Hanks double team. All
I
right,
was waiting for you to explain that.
what's next?
Stephen Thompson writes, AMC Movie Talk crew. So my question involves 2 comic book movies. To me, need another movie under its belt. So have you heard anything about anyone continuing the Hellboy movies? Because after the second one ended, I heard talk about a third one was going to be made, and also heard Spawn may get another movie, but don't know is it a sequel or a reboot. What are your thoughts on this? Thank you.
On the Hellboy point aside, everybody involved with Hellboy wants to make one. We know that Sons of Anarchy boy, Hellboy himself, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman himself was just recently talking about he wants to do it. I mean, he wants to do it. Of course, he's not writing the check to make it, but he wants to do it. Guillermo del Toro's interested in it. The studio's interested in it. But there was a really key interview done with Guillermo del Toro a little while ago that I think puts the nail in the coffin for Hellboy. And that's this. Besides the fact that he is probably the busiest guy in Hollywood, he's attached to 55 different projects that are all
Right.
coming out in the next 3 weeks. But aside from that, he himself said, yeah, he'd probably need about a $200 million budget for the next Hellboy he wants to do. Because he gave this interview where he talked about how, in his head, he wants huge city-wide destruction and he wants all this, blah, blah, probably around the 200 million mark. And there's just, when you look at the box office results of the last 2 films, he's not going to get 200 million. I think he knows he's not going to get 200 million, so I doubt that. And with Spawn, McFarlane has said that he's in motion now. He wants to write and produce and direct the next Spawn film, and he says he's working on it now. That's great, but so far no studio has put their name on it, so
And-
he wants it, we just don't know what's going to happen.
He's been saying that for 10 years.
Yeah, for a very long time.
And there was a great article, I think it was on CBR, that was talking about digging through the internet and looking at all the things that he said over the years, and it's always the exact same thing. So I don't hold out a lot of hope that it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And as far as Hellboy goes, one of the points that Guillermo also made was that Ron Perlman's getting older and it has to happen really fast.
Yeah.
So did Pacific Rim do well enough for a studio to give Guillermo del Toro that much money? As a fan and as a person who appreciates how amazing he is as a filmmaker, I would say give him all the money that he ever asked for, but I don't know if their accountants will do that.
Yeah. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I mean, Guillermo is such a love bug. I love him so much. He's an amazing director, and as a producer, I mean, sure, he slaps his name on a lot of things, but unlike some other producers, he is very down and dirty with other films he does, like Mama and stuff. And
He's very involved.
very, very involved. And I've read an interview with the producer Thomas Tull before that said, I would love to see a Hellboy 3, not I would like to make a
That was the
Hellboy
key.
3.
He was from Legendary.
Yes, from Legendary.
Legendary Pictures. Yeah, I'd love to see it. He didn't say I'd love to write the check
and
for
I thought
it.
that was very, very telling right there. I mean, sure, if your director wants a large sum, and with the whole Legendary Warner Brothers split recently as well, that might not help
That
things move
complicates it a
along.
bit.
Would I like to see it? Absolutely. Ron Perlman has been campaigning for this for a long time. I mean, no one wants to see a Hellboy 3 more than Ron Perlman. So I like to see it, but I unfortunately don't think it's in the cards. And if it would happen, I'd be happy.
All right, folks. Well, listen, that's all the stuff we got lined up. Now it's time to take your questions in the chat board. Chrisley's been interacting with you guys live as much as technology would allow her. So, Chrisley, what are people saying in the chat board?
Well, Justin Van Portflight asks, do you think they will have Martian Manhunter in the Justice League movie, or may they give him a standalone?
I don't think they'll use Martian Manhunter when they do eventually get around to a Justice League. Look, they had a Justice League movie on the books, and we know it was going to be with 5 characters, and those 5 characters were Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and the Flash. Those were the 5. I doubt they're going to try to make their first Justice League movie in 2018, 2019, wherever it happens, with too many characters in it. And I also don't think we'll see a Martian Manhunter film as a standalone. I think when we first meet Martian Manhunter, I think it'll be in a Justice League film, and then maybe standalones come. Gray, what do you think?
I think that makes sense. I think that that's a character that you have to build up for people that are way less well-versed in the comic book world like myself. It's like, I want a little foreplay with Martian Manhunter.
Who doesn't?
And
Right?
it's a corny sounding name for a hero. He's so
Little
great.
bit.
The
He's
character is so
great.
awesome. But we got to admit that it's a weird sounding name.
Little
Like
bit.
Aquaman.
Whoa. Yeah, I definitely think Justice League makes the most sense, but I wouldn't think that they would make a standalone Ant-Man movie either, and that's coming. So, he is kind of one of the lesser-known characters to that universe, not for the diehard fanboys, of course, but you never know.
But
you really just never know.
Ant-Man is 9 films in. 9 films into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
So they can start taking those liberties at
Successful.
that point.
Of course.
Right now we're 1 movie into the Justice League,
Of
the
course,
new
of
universe,
course.
right?
But a
So-
lot of people were very, very surprised about that, so you never
Yeah,
know. But
it's true.
we better get a standalone Wonder Woman film before we get a standalone Martian. I'm just
Right?
saying. Martian
Seriously.
Manhunter.
It's
Yeah.
just the right person has to get behind anything.
And it's got to star Chris Lee Kennedy.
Yay!
I'll totally jump on that bandwagon.
Okay, what else we got in there?
Arlo3 wants to know, do you guys think that Zack Snyder's Batman will be more gadget-oriented? For example, grappling guns, smoke bombs, batarangs, etc. Also, do you guys think we will see the Batmobile in Man of Steel too?
He's tired and weary and seasoned and over it, so I don't know what we're going to be seeing. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I think. But I think we are going to see a lot of gadgets, but I also think there were deceptively a lot of gadgets in the Nolan Batman films too, when you really sit back and look at how much Bruce Wayne in the Nolan films actually used. There was a lot of stuff. I don't doubt at all that we'll see that as well. And yeah, we're going to see the Batmobile. This isn't
better.
a
Morgan
brand
Freeman
new
wasn't
Batman.
he wasn't asleep in the R&D department. Like, Christopher Nolan had plenty of stuff. I think you have to have gadgets. Batman's
Oh, yeah.
nothing without them.
Yeah, and how can he fight Superman without either a lot of Kryptonian technology or without a sliver of kryptonite melted down and fused into the armor that he's going to wear to fight Superman? And there's got to be something. Yes, he will be gadget
He's
heavy.
incredibly intelligent, even without his gadgets. But yes, we better see gadgets. That's part of what I loved so much.
I didn't say he wasn't smart, but he can't run stuff over without the Batmobile.
Oh yeah, no, they'll have
can't
the
fly.
Batmobile.
He's just a dude, a crazy dude.
Okay, let's take 2 more.
This one I really want to know the answer to. So Silver Scuba also wants to know, do you guys think that Jane Foster could die in the next Thor to give Sif a more prominent role, which is a romance that could work better on screen?
I love Sif.
Yeah, let's put it this
Jamie
way.
Alexander.
I will be surprised if Jane doesn't die in Thor 2. I think 2 people could die in Thor 2. I think Loki could die, and I think Jane could die.
Sacrilegious.
No, I know it's horrible. I don't want
the
Loki
best
to die.
character in the movie.
But here's the thing. The only reason I think now there's a chance that Loki may not die, because I was stone hard in my belief that he was going to die. But then they announced that they went back and did a whole bunch of reshoots with Loki, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Because he's
I
everyone's
got a
favorite
feeling
villain.
he sticks around, and that's wise. But I'll be surprised if at least one of the two of them don't die. I think Jane dies. I
And
really
also
do.
the quote when he said, "I would
Yeah.
like, I have some unfinished business with the Hulk. I want a
Yeah,
rematch."
that's what-
Don't kill our Loki. I know he's a villain and he's gonna have to die eventually, but not yet. We're not ready. I do think Jane Foster is going to die. I do. I think that, you know, I really love me some Natalie Portman. I don't think she was properly utilized in the first film, but she goes
Very
to ask God.
diplomatic.
She goes to ask God this second film. Yeah, I am very diplomatic
Yes.
with her because I love Portman.
How
She goes to ask God this film, and Odin's not very happy about that from all the clips we've seen. And I'm really excited to see Alan Taylor's take, but I would not be surprised at all if she dies. I would actually speculate that she will.
Oh, I don't like it when our wonderful girlfriends of superheroes get killed.
I do.
That really.
It's real life, Greg.
Pepper Potts is
seriously-
alive. Are you upset about that?
she's fierce.
Other than the Pepper Potts Tony Stark relationship, which I surprisingly loved, I hate love interests in superhero films. I want
'Cause
superheroes
you're not a lover.
focused on kicking ass and fighting crime. I don't want them worried about, in every single one of Sam Raimi's, this is a big pet peeve of mine. In every single one of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, even the first two, which I loved, in every single one, the bad guy kidnaps Mary Jane,
Yes.
takes her,
Dangles
dangles her
her.
from
Yeah.
a high place as a trap for Spider-Man.
She's always in the way.
Every film,
Everyone.
get rid of the love interest. Dude, be happy with yourself. You don't need anybody. Be alone.
They
Anyway.
work hard. They gotta love hard.
That's
right.
true. All
Give 'em
right.
some entertainment.
Let's
Just
get
not
one.
the damsel in distress. That's what we like. We like babes with some,
Yeah.
gravitas.
All right, Priscilla,
Jane
give us our last
Foster's
one.
probably the only superhero love interest that I can totally do without. So I kind of want to see her go.
Whoa.
Terrible.
No, I don't
Morbid
disagree.
real fast.
Terrible. All right, Christopher Joseph wants to know, do you think we'll ever see a toxic Avenger remake? It's an awesomely bad 80s movie that could be awesomely good today. Thoughts?
It's not only do I think we could,
happening.
it's happening. It's coming, actually. And with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Now Arnold isn't playing isn't playing Toxie himself. What he's playing is I think a janitor at the dude's school who becomes the Toxic Avenger. So yeah, hang in there. It's coming. It's on its way. I don't think it's in production yet. But they have announced it. The deals are signed. So at some point here in the near future, we're going to see
He
it.
is in talks to play the Exterminator.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Exterminator.
Just as long as he doesn't have to freeze anything.
Why did you have
had
to
to go
bring
there,
that
huh?
up?
Listen, I'm sorry, but I mean, he goes from our guy. Oh, Jesus. I can't believe we elected that guy.
All right, listen, folks, we have reached the end of our time. Thank you so much for joining us here on our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Don't forget, join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Los Angeles time. That's 2 p.m. East Coast, Toronto, New York time. And we'll be here every day chatting on the chat boards, interacting with Chris Lee's over there, working hard, talking with you guys. It's great to have you with us. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. I want to thank, first of all, the editor of Movie News here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Amy Rosie, and thank you so much for your support.
She is the senior editor at Rotten Tomatoes, frequent film critic over at CNN, my favorite pink-haired film critic, Miss Gray Drake. Gray, where can people find you online?
Twitter at GRAEDRAKE, and check out my interviews at RottenTomatoes.com/videos.
And of course, our lovely host who's been working over there overtime trying to keep that computer from blowing up, Miss Crystal Lee Kennedy. Crystal Lee, where can people find you online?
Well, clearly you can find me on the chat boards every day for our show. And when I'm not on the chat boards, you guys can find me on Twitter at Crystal Lee.
And you can find me on all the different social networks at John Campia. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. The most important part of the show is obviously not what we have to say. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump on down to the comment section. Leave your thoughts on any or all the topics that we discussed here today. Agree, disagree, be respectful, but that's the best and most fun part about being a film fan. So thanks a lot for joining us. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.